teenager has been arrested for a quadruple shooting in Metairie that left 2 people dead and 2 others wounded. Deputies say the shooting stemmed from a robbery attempt during a drug deal. Deputies arrested a 17-year-old teenage boy on 2 counts of first-degree murder and obstruction of justice. Also, 21-year-old Robert White was arrested on drug and weapons charges. Meanwhile, a shooting in the Milan neighborhood is keeping NOPD investigators busy.
A man is dead after a shooting in the Milan area. It happened just before 9 near the corner of Milan and Willow. That man died at the scene. If you have any information on this case, call the NOPD or Crime Stoppers.
Okay, Albert's with us. Bars are getting ready for a potential shutdown as COVID-19 numbers continue to spiral out of control. Scott Wood runs the Courtyard Brewery on Camp Street.
I think that we've known that that was going to come down at some point. I mean, it's almost inevitable if you're looking around the country and looking around the state. New Orleans has done extremely well, and I think that we should be proud of what we've done. But the reality is we know where we're at. The numbers aren't great.
Other bar owners say more needs to be done to trace where infections are coming from instead of just blaming drinking establishments. Actress Carol Sutton, a fixture on stages in her native New Orleans, has died from complications from COVID-19. New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell announced the death. Sutton was 76. Her roles included the 1989 comedy Steel Magnolias and the TV series Queen Sugar. Recent credits included work on the remake of the series Roots, Treme, True Detective, and Lovecraft Country. In WWL Sports.
This Saints update is brought to you by Oakland Heart Jewelers. Find your diamonds at the best possible price. The Saints head into Philadelphia this Sunday. They take on an Eagles team whose playoff chances are on life support heading into Week 14. While on paper, the Saints look like the more dominant team, but the voice of the Saints, Zach Street, says this Eagles defensive line is still one of the better groups in the NFL.
Man, you're watching tape against the Eagles going, oh my gosh, we got our hands full, right? Because you look all the way down that group, there's a lot of good football players on that defensive line. The offensive line will feel very differently about this football game than maybe you would listening to Deuce and I talk about.
Okay, we have our first caller, Bruce from River Ridge, and he has some rental properties that he's not getting any rental from due to the pandemic.
Gotcha.
He wants to know what he can do.
25 p.m.
Ooh.
right here on WWL. I'm Tim Zimmer, WWL Sports.
And now the forecast from your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
For your Sunday, we'll be looking at mostly cloudy skies, highs in the mid-70s with a 20% chance of a shower this afternoon. That does go up to around a 60 to 70% chance of rain around midnight. That's as a cool front blows in. We'll turn breezy tonight, be breezy on Monday with highs only getting into the mid-50s. And it does look like we'll see some sunshine by Monday afternoon. Tuesday, we'll be looking at a dry start to the day with clouds building in, highs in the low 60s. And then more rainfall Tuesday night into early Wednesday as another cold front moves into the area. So the rest of this week looking nice and cool. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
The following is a paid program. The views and advice expressed are not that of WWL or Intercom Louisiana LLC. Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law on the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship. From WWL, the news, talk, and sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Paid for by Nico and Sunseri Law Firm. Call or text 504-260-1870 or join us anytime, anywhere.
What's the name of the caller? Who's the name of the caller?
Now to our
Who is it? What's his name?
Bruce.
Bruce.
New Orleans. Here are attorneys Albert Nico and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. We're on till 10 o'clock, leading up to pregame for the Saints. Good morning, Albert. Oh, nothing much. We got, we're going to talk a little LSU and Saints, but you always preach to the audience to say, call us early, unless you want to hear us give a full analysis of the LSU and Saints situation. So somebody has heed your advice. So we're going to go straight to the callers today. We'll talk about what's going on in sports, and we'll talk about what else is going on in the city, and we'll talk about even what great Louisiana artists that the mayor wants to keep out the state. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later also. But let's go to Bruce. He's got a question regarding collecting rents for rental property. Hey, Bruce, showing all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico.
Hey, how you doing, Doug?
Good. What you got for us, Bruce?
I own a rental house next door to my home, and I haven't had rent since September. And I tried working with the lady next door and no avail. And now she's moving out. So it's looking for September, October, November, December. So I don't know where I stand and what I can do or what my rights are to try and get some money.
Albert, you want to take that?
Yeah, so, there is a moratorium, but, the good news is the person is moving out, you have to evict them. But it does not mean that they don't owe you the rent. So at some point, they're gonna have to pay that rent back to you, so you will have an action for that rent, but you just don't have the action to evict. So the fact that they're being voluntarily moving out, then, you're covered where that's concerned, and I think the next step would be to bring an action, once you find out where that person is moving up, take your security deposit, deduct a month's rent from that, assuming that everything is cleaned up inside. And then you can, just bring an action. What parish are you in?
What parish are you in?
I'm in Jefferson Parish, River Ridge.
Yeah, so, you would just go to the Justice of the Peace and bring an action for back rent, depending on how much per month. If it's less than $5,000, then, bring an action to collect the back rent. And then you could get a judgment against that person, and that judgment will follow them around to try to collect that judgment, execute on that judgment.
Do I need to get an attorney or
No.
attorney or something?
No. That's not first parish. Yeah, you go ahead, Albert.
Just go ahead and show the amount of rent that the party has been paying each month, and then the number of months that rent wasn't paid. But I would wait until after the first of the year, when the person has moved out, and then check the apartment to see, if there are any reasons to deduct the deposit, any portion of the deposit, and then deduct that portion, and you may have, more to claim in that same lawsuit.
Okay. It's probably a little over 5,000. Does that matter?
Well, I mean, then if that's the case, then you'll need to go to first parish court, which is a little more time consuming, a little more expensive. So if you're willing to walk away from those $200 and just get a $5,000 judgment plus costs, then the Justice of the Peace might be the place for it.
Okay. And what that's the Peace Jefferson Parish or something, or what?
Yeah. What part of Battery do you live in?
It's River Ridge.
Yeah. Okay. So you have a Justice of Peace out. I guess you'd have one in River Ridge. Yeah.
Get on the internet, check it out, and then they have that particular piece will have forms for you to fill out to file for evictions, for petitions, for whatever claims. And I want to say it's like $60 to file it, and the constable serves it, and you move on from there. But get a forwarding address from the person.
Yeah, you're gonna have to serve her with the petition.
They don't give that to you. Can you find that out legally?
Well, there's services you can find it out. You can.
But tell them, look, I need to know a place to send the deposit. Okay, all right.
Oh, that's pretty good.
We have Miss Darlene on.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Thanks for the call. We got Darlene next. Hey, Darlene, you and all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I have a quick question. My daughter had left us several months ago. She's on disability. and he had to vacate the apartment due to the living condition.
Mm-hmm.
He would not allow her in to the apartment that both of their names was on
Yeah.
in order for her to retrieve her personal belongings. He moved everything out into a storage unit.
Yeah.
For the past several months, she's been trying to get her personal items, and he is always coming up with an excuse not to be able to meet with her. And
He's just jerking around. He's not.
thank you.
Okay.
What she's tried getting in touch with, because she's on disability.
Uh-huh.
She's been trying to get with legal aid over
Yeah.
Southeast Legal Aid. They can't meet with her until they said maybe January, March actually.
Yes.
March. How can she legally go about getting her personal, like her clothes and
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things. I mean, there's I guess the legal way to do it, and there's maybe some pragmatic solutions in the interim. If she's married to this man?
yes, they should not started.
Okay. Well, right.
Due to, you know.
Finances.
All
right.
COVID and all, they said they couldn't meet with her until later.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess if in connection with the divorce proceeding, you could file a request along with the other interim request to get a court order to retrieve her items. In other words, what parish is she in?
St. Tammany.
Okay, in St. Tammany Parish, they have a wonderful system. They have a hearing officer system. So when she would file for a petition for divorce, she would you can ask for ancillary issues, maybe child support, custody, spousal support, which is alimony, and other issues to be heard by the hearing officer a couple of weeks after you file for the divorce. And one of the items that you can request for relief is to have a order issued by the hearing officer or a recommendation ordered by the hearing officer, which you would, for her to be able to retrieve her personal items. That order is routine, if asked for, and she would get that opportunity. The other party would be court ordered to do that. Now, the problem is, from a pragmatic standpoint, you have the time delays between being able to meet with Southeast Legal Clinic and after you file the petition for divorce, it might be another 3 or 4 weeks. She's without her belongings. But one thing you may want to do is call the police and make a report and say, and a lot of times, even though the police do not have the legal authority to resolve this issue formally, a lot of times they're wearing the uniform, they have authority, and they'll say, hey, is this wife's belongings in there? And they're sitting there in their uniforms and with an air of authority, and he'll say yes. He says, look, why don't you just go ahead and resolve this problem? Even though they don't have the authority to do that, the police often are very, very helpful in trying to resolve this type of, I guess, domestic issue, trying to get to a solution. And so they're not necessarily using their legal authority. So in the interim, I'd give it a shot. You have nothing to lose. Call the police and ask, if wherever he is, go over there, see if they could meet. And a lot of times they'll say, hey, why don't you go ahead and do this? Like they do this often for child issues when the parents are, fighting and the child's or there's some issue with the child, they'll sort of make they'll encourage to make a temporary arrangement. And so they'll do that. So that's what I would recommend. They don't have the legal authority to do it, but they do it, because, they're public.
She can call the police and they would
go out there. They may go out there. Or I would call wherever he's staying. Yeah, wherever he lives, yeah. And meet him out there. And see if he can affect you. I mean, they're very good. And those are your two options. No, well, you can. I mean, I always say when somebody's doing that, it's like negotiating with the Taliban. You have to take the next step. You can't do that. Yeah. So Okay, thanks for the call. And thanks for calling. I want to say this before we go to the commercial. Just take about 45 seconds. Police get a hard time. They get a bum rap, and they have gotten a bum rap this past two years. And and there's 8 million arrests, and a few of them go bad, and there's protests and all that are that are not scrutinized in connection with everything else they do. There are thousands and thousands of incidents that the police use wisdom to solve a real problem with someone, and they do it. They never get any recognition. They never get any awards. They never get a pat in the back a lot of times. But if you rode with a policeman for 24 hours, you would not believe all they do in order to solve problems that people have, especially a lot of domestic problems that they never get recognition of. And a lot of times in these type of situations, they do it. They don't have to do it. They could just go back and say, no, it's a civil matter, but they go in there and do it because they want to solve problems in their servants. And so just keep that in mind the next time someone's telling you that all cops are bad or whatever they tell you, whatever foolishness they say. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your Weekend Lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
9 wins in a row for the Saints and a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. Up next, the Eagles in Philly today. Game day starts at 11 a.m. First take with Steve Court and Steve Geller. At 1 o'clock, join Bobby Hebert and Mike Detillier for the Bud Light countdown to kickoff. Game time 3:25. Turn down the TV and sync up to Saints legends Deuce McAllister and Zach Street. Then, after the game, sound off with the Cajun Cannon. Saints, Eagles, today on WWL.
And the children were nestled. Okay, the board is clear here. We have no calls
Okay.
at this moment.
All right.
Fenced in their heads.
Add cyber threats to the holidays and it ruins the whole thing. Like if you go shopping online.
I entered my credit card so lightly and quick, never considering that cyber criminals were watching my every click.
We do so much online this season that can end up exposing our personal information. But if you have Norton 360 with LifeLock, the holidays look a lot merrier.
On Norton, on LifeLock.
Norton 360 with LifeLock helps protect the info on your devices.
Okay, the last spot in this whole segment is Big Lou.
Also,
Big Lou.
Identity theft, but Norton 360
That's an
with
interesting
LifeLock
spot.
tells cyber criminals to
I don't think a lot of wives like that spot.
percent or more on it.
Huh? Especially the wives who've been divorced.
25% off at norton.com/news.
Well, I mean, some wives consider themselves safe.
Yes.
For the holidays.
Yeah, they do.
But for us at BMW, it still means one thing, making each mile along the way unforgettable. So this holiday season, hurry in at the Road Home sales event and conquer any terrain on your trip back with the remarkably versatile BMW X3. Take an adventure you'll never forget in the spacious BMW X5, or savor every moment of the highway home in the iconic 3 Series. This year, don't just take the road home, truly experience it in the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in to the BMW Road Home sales event to receive an up to $3,500 credit on select models through December 31st. Delivered by December 31st. Up to $3,500 credit applied against MSRP for selecting 2021 BMWs financed through BMW Financial Services. Visit BMWUSA.com/roadhome for offer details.
Enjoy a credit up to $3,500 on select BMW models now through December 31st at BMW's Road Home Sales Event. Visit BMW.com for details.
This is Attorney Doug Sunseri, host of All Things Legal on Sunday morning.
This is attorney Michelle Demross Sunseri. As a result of COVID-19, many are experiencing unique family law difficulties resulting in divorce and custody issues.
Also, we learned the importance of estate planning, wills, and powers of attorney.
At Nico and Sunseri Law Firm, we make the complex understandable.
Call me at my memory office at 504-837-1304.
Or call me, the boss lady, on the North Shore at my new office in Mandeville at 985-624-9697.
Boss lady, really?
Here's an unexpected holiday surprise. A flash sale on all earrings at Diamonds Direct. This weekend, 25% off. This is something we never do, but we made a last-minute decision. All earrings marked down an incredible 25%. Diamond studs, diamond hoops, colored gemstone earrings, all included. is one truly epic earring event. What woman doesn't love a nice pair of diamond stud earrings for Christmas? Make it happen this weekend and save an unprecedented 25%. Special financing available too. Friday through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
On Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-345-2789. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-345-2789. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-345-2789. 800-345-2789.
It's WWL and all things legal with Albert Nico and Doug Sunseri. Join us on the whodadlending.com talk and text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. You can also call us at our law firm at 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304, or North Shore, in God's Country, 985-624-9697. So, Albert, the listeners listen to you. They call early, and which is good. But I do want to talk about LSU. Did you watch LSU game last night?
Actually, I didn't. I watched the highlights. We went to dinner. I didn't feel like another beatdown like last week, and I was quite surprised.
Well, I will tell you that after, I think that you had COVID. First of all, you had 40 players leave the team through transfer and graduation in the NFL. 16 are in the NFL. You had COVID, so you had a young team and you couldn't go through spring practice. Then they had the ill-advised march during practice where the players marched, and Coach O stood his ground and said, look, I don't agree with what y'all believe. I think the issue was, I think Coach O was, was quote social justice, and Coach O was like, no, this isn't, it's not, it's about the appropriate use of force of a person who's resisting arrest. This isn't what you're making it to be. And that caused dissension on the team. You had a lot of your starters opt out. You had investigations. You have sanctions. And you have unrelenting criticism of Bo Pelini. And you even had talk as to whether he could survive the year or next year. And then his prize recruit, Eric Gilbert, walks out and quits. And after all that, he beats the number 6 team in the nation. And he did it in a way where it was just gutty, gritty, with a lot of character and not giving up. And so, kudos to Coach O, because when a lot of people were jumping off the bandwagon, having real doubts, he stayed the course. And it's a great lesson in life, is that you can't listen to the chatter outside. You just got to keep your head down and do your job. And if you do that, good things are going to happen. But I think last night, next to the SEC championships, victory over Alabama, and of course, the national championship, this is probably the most important win in Ed Orgeron's last 5 years. No question. Just from a way of, hey, the free fall has stopped. And I think it's just going to give.
What tells you is that they're pretty deep. They've recruited really, really well. And so they've got guys that can step in and step up. And, second, third string guys, they had to, I've heard the announcers had to, look at the program. And this is
McLaughlin. He's a 4th-string cornerback who came in and played very well. He stepped up, next man up, he played. 4th-string quarterback. They had the top 3 Flott was thrown out. You had Stingley, and Stingley was hurt, and Ricks was in and out. The top three, there's top three cornerbacks were out against Thrash, who is going to, who's a Heisman contender, who they throw the ball 70% of the time. No, he's that no longer. Now, here's the other thing. I want to talk about this from a cultural standpoint, or where players are, if I lost the opportunity to play in a national championship because somebody threw a shoe, now you saw that, 25 yards after a third down, and LSU was going to punt the ball and give the ball back to Florida. Presumably, they would have the opportunity to have won the game on that last drive. And they make this stop. He takes the tight end for LSU's shoe, throws it 25 yards, and gets a personal foul penalty. That will live in infamy. I mean, LS shoe. And also the fact that York kicked a 57-yard field goal in soup conditions. I don't know if he could see the goalpost when he kicked this, which makes it more amazing. And what makes it more amazing about that is when you have those conditions, the air is heavier and it's harder to kick in those conditions because of the air. And then that kick could have gone about 63 yards. So, I mean, just a Herculean. I mean, I think it's great for the state. I mean, we hadn't had anything to cheer about for LSU for 11 months, and God bless. But I mean, I'm just struck. I guess he's a young man, and they do. We did things stupid. Young people do, things that are unwise at times. But to lose the opportunity to win a national championship over the lack of self-discipline of throwing a shoe 25 yards and getting up, it's just, we saw this last year during the Egg Bowl, and it cost Ole Miss's coach his job when they scored a go-ahead touchdown. He got on all fours and mimicked a dog going to the bathroom. And so, I hope, people who, young guys who watch, who are in high school, want to play college, and just in life, when you win anything and you celebrate that way, or you do something that way, I mean, just have a little class, and just, but that's just, it's a, I mean, I'm just flabbergasted that, I'm glad I'm not in Florida. I'm glad that didn't happen to LSU. I don't think anybody would ever, forget it. But so great,
It was great to see him, and Florida comes down, and listen, don't forget that they had about 600 something yards in offense. So three opportunity turnovers, a goal line stand. One was a kick six. So there was a handful of breaks. There was a shoe thrown. There were a handful of breaks that went LSU's way that caused them to win. And we still got defense problems. We still got issues. But they did enough to win, and you got to commend them for that.
I think a third of those players for LSU were this time last year playing for the high school team, and for the most part, even though the freshmen play senior now, most of them at least sit a year, and so you could see a little bit of maturity in the sense that they didn't give up when they lost the lead in the fourth quarter. They just kept their cool. They kept their head down, kept sawing wood, and did well. And speaking of luck, I just want to talk about the Saints a little bit. How the Saints are 10-2, and when you have a season like this, you need breaks. And when we went to the Super Bowl, we had the Robert Meacham play. We had the Miami comeback. We had some things that were very fortuitous. And we had some fortuitous things that happened this year. You had a couple of games with San Diego. The ball hits the upright and bounces back, and we're able to win in overtime. We've had a couple of other games that have gone down to the last minute. We had Atlanta. last week even, they had a shot with the Big Ben play. We sort of had the breaks. But, this year we've had a lot of breaks, which by fortune. For example, when we played the 49ers, they didn't have Garoppolo, who's one of your favorites as quarterback. You've been liking him for the last 6-7 years.
I like you playing in New England. You did a great job. I keep an eye on it. And, obviously, San Francisco likes him. He's been playing with injury before.
But he didn't play. Nicky Mullins played, which he's a capable backup, but he's not an NFL starter. Then we play Denver. Okay, and Denver has no quarterback. They have a wide receiver from the practice squad. And then here's the bit of luck that we have today. We're not a cold weather team. We've never been, and we never will. Our offense is based on precision, based on, we do best in very controlled environment. That's not who we are. And so normally if you play a game in December in Philadelphia, you're liable to be playing in snow. You're liable to be playing in 20 degrees in bad weather. And the weather today in Philadelphia is in the 50s, mild with no wind. So that's just another little break, that you need in a fortuitous season. And so I don't think there's going to be fans at Philadelphia, which means Philadelphia is known for being booing Santa Claus this time of year, as you know. So I think Santa Claus is going to get a break this year in Philadelphia, especially when they're losing. And here's the other break for the Philadelphia game. They're starting a rookie quarterback, and Jalen Hurts, and game plan for him is just keep him in the pocket and let him beat you from the pocket.
The thing you got to worry about, though, with Jalen Hurts is, there's no film on him, right?
Right.
You're not going to be in college film, but then
Hey.
you don't know what he's going to do and how they're going to use it. So, it's going to be hard to game plan for somebody who's mobile, who's going to try to make it up as he goes.
Well, they're going to put a spy on him. Yeah, they're going to put a spy on him. But you know what? The Saints defense isn't Kansas defense. That's for sure. Or Vanderbilt's defense. All right, let's go to break. That's Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers. We'll start talking law right after this brief timeout.
Unemployment claims. American workers getting laid off. Just hit their highs weekly.
Okay, gentlemen, we have two holding.
Okay.
First is Wayne from Metairie, and he wants to talk about eviction. The second is Sheldon from New Orleans, sorry. Part of the South. And Sheldon wants to talk about collecting rent.
Will happen on WWL, the News Talk Sports Leader.
It all starts with just one thing. This holiday season, invest in some LED Christmas lights. They use significantly less energy than regular bulbs. It all starts with one thing. Find tips and more at US.com. What's your one thing?
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman with a warning. Millions of people are buying stocks they think are low in price. Watch out. A lot of investors have no idea the risks they're taking. But you're holding steady, right? You haven't made a trade all year. That could be a problem too. With COVID on the scene, you might need more in cash than before. Maybe you need to reduce your market risk as well. Are you sure your portfolio is COVID ready? Call us at Edelman Financial Engines and let's review your investments and your entire financial situation and see if you're in good shape as this crisis continues. It's not the time to go it alone. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. Talk with one of my colleagues here at Edelman Financial Engines. We'll review your portfolio and make sure you're ready for what comes next. And we'll help you get through this crisis just like we've helped clients get through every crisis for the past 35 years. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Online at ricedelman.com.
Folks, they say in life, timing is everything. Thank my lucky stars that California Closets was in my life before the pandemic. All the improvements our personal design consultant brought to the forefront created marital bliss strong enough to endure the extended periods of time spent at home due to the pandemic. Why, you ask? There is a place for all of our stuff, and my 20% of the closet space is all I need. So there it is. My wife still has 80% of the closet space that holds even more clothes. Emphasis on more. Just kidding, honey. But the facts are what the facts are. And None of this could happen fast enough for us, and when it did, it was everything I expected and more, because every design is custom manufactured and installed to the exact specifications. So get started today and visit CaliforniaClosets.com and schedule your free in-home or virtual design consultation today.
Did you know those big box home improvement stores both painted their buildings with the same product from Mid-South Coatings? The same protective coatings you can have on your home. This is Kevin Navahan. Think about it. Stores that sell paint, but using our product instead, that's because of our lifetime warranty. So if you're ready to paint your home for the last time, call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate.
Call 407-2222. 407-2222. That's 407-2222.
Tired of painting your home every few years? From big box home improvement stores to NASA, Mid-South Coatings uses the very same coating to protect and keep your home looking great for life. Imagine your home looking freshly painted for a lifetime. So before you put any product on your home, call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate.
Call 504-407-2222. 407-2222. That's 407-2222. Or visit midsouthcoatings.com. Diamonds Direct just decided to squeeze in one more incredible event before Christmas. Flash sale on all earrings this weekend. Yes! Save an unprecedented 25% off all earrings at Diamonds Direct. Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price plus an extra 25% savings. All diamond studs are included. So this is huge. Special financing too, guys. You can never go wrong with a nice pair of diamond stud earrings. You've never seen prices this low. It's Friday through Sunday only. A truly epic earring event at Diamonds Direct.
Let go of protection improves security of your business by keeping your product, customers, and employees safe. Go of protection is the local choice for security personnel and equipment. Give them a call at 504-577-2323 or on the web at goofprotection.com.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
We're going live right after a couple more.
Okay.
Translate your questions into goals by investing with Merrill Edge Self-Directed. It's more accessible than you think. The corporate planning tool has free online stock and ETF trades, so you can keep practicing your pronunciation. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/within-reach to get started today.
Investing culture is very efficient as medical industry with game members IPC and FPC apply. Investment products are not FDIC insured and bank guaranteed every day.
Hear how the best minds in business really work with the Boardroom Out of Office podcast, hosted by Rich Klein and Kevin Durant's 35 Ventures business partner. Industry leaders talk about who they are, how they got here, and things they learned along the way you might not expect. Listen on Radio.com and Apple Podcasts.
Back to WWL and all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Connect on the who.lending.com talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Wayne. He's got a question regarding evictions, which is a big deal now with COVID. Hey, Wayne, you and all things legal.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Hey, brother, what you got for us?
Well, I watched the game too, and man, it was a great game.
Yeah.
It seems like they play for some reason, tough games like that, real good games.
Hey, you know, and
yeah. But anyway, that the kicker, is he like 30 years old?
that's the punter. The punter's 30 years old. The punter's.
He might come back next year.
Yes.
But anyway, it looks like the quarterback did real good. You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to go 4 years. You know, he did a great job, and boy, he took a lot of sacks too, a lot of hits, hard hits.
Well, he's got a second dimension they couldn't defend. You know, he's a good runner too, and if he can make throws and he can run, that adds another dimension. You know, a la Taysom Hill. But yes, LSU's going to have a hard time next year deciding who's going to be quarterback. What you got for us, Wayne?
It would
I would say,
Some of his balls looked like they were kind of low and behind the guy, receiver.
I would say it's something you have to get used to. It is not normal through repetition. And so I think they can, but it is different. Spin of the ball, the angle of the ball, it is a little different. So nothing you can't get used to, but you have to get used to. And you do that through repetition.
It spins the opposite way.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
When they throw it,
Yes. Or yes, basically it does.
so, man, that was like the best game I've seen, of course, all year.
Yes. Well, would you?
It looked like the Florida kicker, or that last field goal, it looked like he had it. Well, I know he had it. He had the height and he had the length. It was just to the left about maybe 2 yards from what I've seen.
That's it. Well, NFL's and football's game of inches. Winning and losing is inches, as last night showed. You got a legal question for us, Wayne?
Oh yeah, my Jefferson Parish eviction. Yeah, that would be Judge Cusimana.
Yeah.
Joe Yenny building.
6th floor.
And what these people need to do is just a lot of it is. I mean, I've been, when it comes to me, they file harassment suits against me.
Why is that?
Like people about his clothes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, that's harassment also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're a landlord?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
I am, and I'm winding it down. So.
Yeah.
Sell my property, some of my property.
Right.
So I know about the eviction, and
Well, you got to have your I's dotted.
I tried some of them back,
Mm-hmm.
and I got sued for harassment.
Well, you're supposed to, have your I's dotted and T's crossed. You follow the procedures, follow your notices, and follow the lease. You should be okay. If you go beyond that, then you might have some issues.
$20 now,
It's under 20.
Last
Okay.
time I filed a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's worth just buying these bad tenants out. Give them some money, and hey, here's some money, and we'll find you another place.
Well.
Long money works out better.
Well.
So
good.
Okay, that's all I got.
All right, Wayne. Thanks so much. You have a great afternoon. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Sheldon. Sheldon's got a question regarding collecting rents. Hey, Sheldon, you and all things legal. Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've been a landlord for almost 30 years now, and when I started out, the period to file for things that leave or new money and causing damage was over 5 years. Recently, I found out that as a result of the Louisiana Supreme Court decision, that time frame has been shrunk to 3 years. I have two questions. Question number one, is that retroactively or moving forward? Number two, I had judgments over the years, and it was a few I had to reapply right every time the courts were shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any to recapture that time in order to resubscribe the judgments that were coming up on expiration?
Well,
Are you talking about reinscribing judgment?
Yeah.
The first part was the time to file has been reduced from 5 years plus down to 3 years. But there, just like the first gentleman call, when somebody just moves out, you got to find them after they move out in order to file, and that can be an issue.
Right. Well, in terms of reinscribing judgments, that's a 10-year process. You actually get
Well,
Yeah, well, so there was a moratorium that the governor set forth, and I want to say it ended sometime in early June.
yes.
And so you didn't have to file within that period of time, or that they extended any deadlines to that date. But when the courts opened up prior to that date, so it allowed you to file those before that period of time, before that date.
Okay, so in other words, the 6 months that the moratorium is an extension of 6 months of time that I have to file.
Well,
So-
yeah, I extended it, but I mean, that deadline has now passed. So if you filed it somewhere, I want to say it was July.
So,
June.
June, yeah, first week of June, it seemed like.
First week of June was, they extended it to the 4th or the 5th, and then, you ended up, having to file within that period. The courts did open, you were able to file.
Yeah.
Prior to that time, there was a short period of time when everything was closed,
Oh.
and so it just extended the deadline.
All right, I hear the music. Thanks for the call. Call us at 837-1304 if you got more questions. Got to go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers. We'll be back in a minute.
Okay, let's go. Go. They're right on our tail.
Hey, don't worry. They'll never catch us.
How do you know?
This is an action movie. This is a Nissan sales event app.
What? No, can't be. Sales event ads are boring. This is definitely not boring.
And how do you explain the announcer?
Sorry. Who? Get 0% APR financing on 13 models, or see $2,250 on the 2020 Nissan Altima. You'll be glad to take the lead role in the Nissan year-end sales event. Show up on set at your local Nissan store, or shop NissanUSA.com for blockbuster deals. Well-qualified buyer subject to in-that credit review. See dealer for financing details. $2,250 cash back on purchase of 2020 Altima from new dealer stock. Call 1-888-858-8319 for offer details, list of eligible models, and important safety information. Ends 1/4/21.
Hey, it's Tommy Tucker. You know what I like most about APS? Well, with family and pets at home, I feel better knowing APS is always there to help if a break-in or a fire occurs. They're the only company I found that gave me options.
Okay, gentlemen, we have two holding right now. First is Terry with a prenup and inheritance question. And we have George from Destrehan and a question about divorce.
All right.
Go online to security by APS.com.
What can help you take advantage of today's low mortgage rates and save money? Rocket can. You can save hundreds of dollars every month by refinancing with Rocket Mortgage at today's near historic low rates. If your current rate is over 4%, you could lower your payment by over $100.
Okay, George from Destrehan just fell off, so he's not an issue right now.
Today,
So we got Terry. So we got Terry, right? Terry.
Terry, yes, and
Yeah, we probably want.
inheritance.
Yeah, probably want to only have time for one more before the hour.
Coffee. We've been making great tasting coffee for over 100 years. But what makes us different isn't just how long we've been around. It's how far we're willing to go in pursuit of the perfect cup. We select only the finest beans and use over 4 generations of family roasting experience to give you the richest, most delicious coffee around. Find Community Coffee at your local grocery store or visit communitycoffee.com to order some today.
You can't miss the unplanned, unexpected, unbelievable sale Diamonds Direct is having this weekend. All earrings are
Last commercial here is LifeLock.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Will give us about 3.5.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect.
5% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price. It's the perfect ready-to-wrap gift for the women in your life. All diamond studs are included. Special financing available too. A truly epic earring event this Friday through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
On Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
My identity's been taken. Fa la 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 LifeLock. 'Tis the season for more protection. Fa la 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 LifeLock.
The holidays can be a magical time for identity thieves because we do more things that can expose our sensitive information without knowing it, like
Shopping online for deals on presents. Fa la 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 LifeLock. On sketchy websites I shouldn't visit. Fa la 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 LifeLock.
LifeLock helps detect threats to your identity, like your info for sale on the dark web. It if something goes wrong, our US-based experts are there to help fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but LifeLock can help you
Solve a holiday identity crisis. Fa la 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 LifeLock. Get started now with promo prices. Fa la 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 LifeLock.
save up to 25% off your first year. Go to lifelock.com and enter promo code AWARE. That's 25% off at lifelock.com with promo code AWARE.
It's WWL and all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Connect with us on the WWL.com talk and text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. That's Terry Albanico, your weekend lawyers. Got about 3 minutes before the break. Let's go to Terry. He's got a question regarding prenuptial inheritance. Hey, Terry, you on all things legal.
Good morning, guys.
What you have?
Good morning, guys. Happy holidays.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
I'm calling about my late father-in-law's estate. He owned a house and he had an umbrella policy on the automobile. And so he married his second wife, and they did a prenuptial agreement that basically says, you know, what's his before the marriage is his, and what's hers is hers.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to live at the second wife's house, and my wife and I are raising our family in his house that he has this insurance policy on. So fast forward 15 years, he's killed in an auto accident.
Mm.
So as you know, as being the heirs to his estate, we pursue the umbrella policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so while the policy is being litigated, and it still is, his second wife died.
Mm-hmm.
Now his second wife's heirs want a share of this umbrella policy benefits.
Well,
do they have standing in this?
the only allocation they could get from the is if you allocated damages is the possible loss of consortium claim of the second wife. Y'all all have loss of consortium claims. So meaning loss of enjoyment of having someone who is no longer to who's injured or died due to the negligence of someone else. Now the personal
stepchildren,
yeah, you're good.
The stepbrothers and sisters would not have
No.
yeah,
they would. That's
would not have that cost back, and it's only direct descendants. They would have to be your father's children to have that cause of action for.
no, yeah, but they could have a cause of action for the mother.
She's no longer alive.
I understand, but they could step into the mother's cause of action because they're descendants.
Right.
That would be as inheritance. But the short version is most of it would be y'all's, and no, they would not be able to jump in on your portion because personal injuries are separate property. They're not community property, and so they would not come into the community estate. All right, call.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
All right, sorry, we got a hard break. We go into news. We got to go to national news, local news. We'll be back in about an hour, and call us back at 837-1304. See you in about 10 minutes.
The previous show was a paid-for program. The views and advice expressed were not that of WWL, Louisiana LLC. Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law and the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship.
Home of the New Orleans Saints and LSU Fighting Tiger Sports. 870 AM WWL New Orleans. 105.3 WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans. A Radio.com sports station.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Eggland's Best.
I'm Wendy Gillette in New York. Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine is on its way. Trucks transporting the vaccine in freezers started rolling out this morning to 50 states from a manufacturing plant in Kalamazoo, Michigan. WWMT TV reporter Tricia McCauley from Portage.
Asked to be about 2.9 million doses of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine distributed safely across the country. Doses will go to 150 distribution centers nationwide. Another 4
450 sites are expected to get the vaccine on Tuesday and Wednesday.
The president and CEO of University Hospital in Newark, New Jersey, Sharif El-Nahal, says not all of his employees are willing to take the vaccine.
There's concern over side effects and adverse events, concern about how fast the science went on this, including the clinical trials. And there are good explanations for all of this. And so I think we're already seeing an increase in the number of people willing to take it.
Some nursing home residents will also be at the front of the line for the vaccine. Reporter Tyler Lane from WTBR-TV in Richmond, Virginia. Joan Kirby lives independently in Henrico's Lakewood Retirement Community, which offers assisted living care. That means she could be among the first to get the shot.
I will take whatever I can get just to not be so isolated.
Interim Chief Medical Officer at VCU Medical Center, Dr. David Lanning, says a system is in place to track employees' potential reactions or side effects.
Mild temperatures, could even be higher temperatures, some degree of fatigue.
But the most important thing Dr. Lanning wants people to know is this.
I would just encourage those to really look at the data and rely on the experts when they say.
Peaceful political marches for and against President Trump during the day in Washington, D.C. turned violent at night. WTOP's Ken Duffy.
Some assaults, some pretty bad fights. A lot of the Trump supporters coming out to confront the anti-Trump demonstrators marching around. And then we have the element of the Proud Boys, right-wing extremists looking for the anti-Trump demonstrators.
A big snowstorm is forecast to hit the Northeast later this week. CBS meteorologist Jeff Baradelli has the forecast.
It may be mixed with rain around D.C. and Philly, but there's plenty of cold air available. So major snow totals are likely, especially from Pennsylvania through New York City and New England. Well over a foot is possible in spots.
The first black country megastar has died.
You got to kiss an angel good morning.
Charlie Pride won 3 Grammy Awards. He died yesterday in Dallas from complications of COVID-19. He was 86. This is CBS News.
Today, stronger immunity and better nutrition are more important than ever. That's why Eggland's Best gives you and your family more. That's healthy news for everyone. Only Eggland's Best.
Here's a great thing to consider doing right now before the end of the year. Call Medishare and find out just how much you would save by switching to Medishare, the affordable alternative to health insurance. When you call, you'll get some good news and probably be very happily surprised too. The typical family saves $500 a month, but you might save even more. It's still worth it to at least find out. And you'll see why more than 400,000 people are already members. Medishare is a Christian community that shared more than $4 billion in each other's healthcare costs. It really is remarkable, and they're very easy to talk to. And here's the thing, if you join before the end of the year, they'll waive your new member fee. That's another $170 you'll save. I'll give you the number here in a second. The call, and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 31st, so call now. You'll save even more. Call 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLE. WWL First News. I'm Tom Perumian on your official weather station, WWL AM, FM, and .com.
We'll get to the mid-70s today with only about a 20% chance of showers through the afternoon. The rain chance is up to 60% chance as we go in around midnight. That's as a strong cold front moves into the area.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone. Arrests made in the quadruple shooting near Fat City on Thursday. We get this full report from WWL TV's Eric Paulson.
Deputies say a woman drove her 16-year-old relative, Josiah Pujols, and a 17-year-old suspect to a parking lot on Division Street to pick up what the woman thought was some of the boys' belongings. Deputies say the teens were actually there to buy drugs from 21-year-old Robert White. When White got into the SUV, the 17-year-old boy got out, shot and killed White's 22-year-old friend, Melvin Francis. Deputies say Pujols tried to shoot Rob White. He got out of the SUV and started shooting. The 2 teens and the woman were also shot. Pujols died, but the 2 others were treated from the hospital and released. Deputies say White will not be facing charges for the shootings because they say he was acting in self-defense.
Pfizer is shipping COVID-19 vaccines nationwide, including to Ochsner Health, who will help distribute the vaccine in Louisiana. But it's an involved and complex process to get the vaccines sent. WWL TV's Sheila Turk explains.
The vials must be stored in ultra-cold freezers. Shipping giants FedEx and UPS will be splitting the delivery available to the general public until next spring or early summer.
And those first rounds of inoculations will go to frontline medical personnel. In WWL sports,
LSU capitalized on 3 Florida turnovers last night to stay neck and neck with the 6th-ranked Gators in Gainesville, putting them in position to take the lead with less than a minute to play.
Cade York going to try a 57-yarder. Here's the approach and the kick. On its way, and it is good! Cade York with a school record 57-yard field goal.
That would be your final as Florida would miss a last-ditch field goal to try to tie it. LSU goes on for a 37-34 victory, upsetting the 6th-ranked Gators and moving to 4-5 on the season. Next up for LSU, they'll take on Ole Miss in 6 days for the season finale.
As of now, the board is clear.
Gotcha.
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 The team will once again start Taysom Hill at quarterback. Hill is 3-0 as the Saints starter this season. Safety Deacon Swell at
What's that?
You took that lamp?
right here on WWL.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it right back.
That's fine. I thought you grabbed another light bulb.
Right there. Well, no, I just took one from the bedroom because it was about to go on. I'm gonna put the light bulb back
That's
in
fine.
because I was about to hop on. So I look like I was in a cave because it's no sunshine.
Malone. Starting today, dry, but we'll see a few showers this afternoon. Most stay dry, though, with highs in the mid-70s and most cloudy skies. Tonight, the cool front moves in. Now moves in around midnight. That will bring a line of showers with it, maybe a rumble of thunder, and then turns breezy as we head into your Monday. Highs only getting into the mid-50s tomorrow with some sunshine coming out here in the afternoon. Tuesday, we start dry with highs only getting into the low 60s, a 20% chance of showers. That does go up Tuesday night to early Wednesday as another cool front blows in. Could see some showers from that. Wednesday, we're looking drier with highs in the upper 50s, and then by Thursday, sunny skies, highs in the mid-50s. So much of this week staying nice and cool. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Kate Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
The following is a paid program. The views and advice expressed are not that of WWL or Intercom Louisiana.
It should be.
Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law and the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship. From WWL, the news, talk, and sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Paid for by Nico and Sunseri Law Firm. Call or text 504-260-1870 or join us anytime, anywhere on the Radio.com app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nico and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. Just call 260-1870. We'll answer your legal question. I'll answer your LSU question if you want. Also, stay tuned for our first take at 1 o'clock, 11:30. And then at 1:30, you got to count down the kickoff. And I think kickoff against the Philadelphia Eagles and at 3:25 in a very mild Philadelphia. So stay tuned to WWL all day and get ready for the Saints and turn down the sound for Deuce and Zach. So Albert, you there? I just got a text. I said before, a little sports before we go to law, but I got a text wondering who's going to be the LSU starting quarterback next year. And that's a good problem to have, I guess, if you have three.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think it's Brennan's to lose. You know,
Do you?
I gotta think that he may not be as injured as enough to maybe keep him out for the whole year, for the remainder of the year. But it's one of those things. Hey, this is a throwaway season. He's the quarterback of the future. Let's let him get completely healed and not take any chances. And
Well,
I gotta think that in the background, because I thought he played relatively well.
He did good. Yeah.
But I think the issue was the defense throughout all of it.
Sure.
And it's still defense. Like I said, Florida still almost had 700 yards total offense. That's pretty.
Yeah. Well, they, mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well,
Both wings going to have the sales side for the front yard. You know, 'cause, you know, when you make a comment like, you know, we don't have the personnel for our 4-3 defense. Well, then if you don't have the personnel, run something else. You know, play your personnel and game plan for your personnel. And it's amazing that, you know, they've got all these blue chip recruits and they don't have the personnel to run a 4-3 defense to, you know, to beat Missouri. You know, I just think that he's making excuses, and you know, I think he's kind of bad. He wasn't successful anywhere he went after he left LSU.
he had moderate success at Nebraska, but I think as far as quarterback's concerned, pros and cons is Brendan's got the experience, waited his turn, but he's one-dimensional. And I think in college football, it's, you know, one of the weapons last year, Joe Burrow, he was two-dimensional. He was a run threat, pass threat. So that's one thing that's missing with him. Max Johnson is two-dimensional. Now, whether he can, you know, the passing is going to be his issue as far as accuracy. He did pretty good last night. He's only a true freshman, and he's got great, you know, obviously great pedigree. Now, your best pure passer and as far as stature and size is TJ. So they all bring something different. And man, I think just let them fight it out. And then whoever emerges, it's a good problem. But I'm just.
Yeah. I'd like to think the nod might go to Brennan just because these other guys, you know, they have more time.
Yeah. So.
You know, Brennan would have a year left, and so let him play his year, and then let these two guys, you know, learn as much as they can learn, and then you got again. I got to think that both two freshmen, one of them is going to see the handwriting on the wall.
Oh, sure. We're in the 21st century in college football. You know, there's no more, with the exception of Brandon, waiting 3 or 4 years to get your shot. But you know, when LSU did win the national championships, they won with a 23-year-old Joe Burrow. They won with a 26-year-old Matt Mock. They won with a 22-year-old who'd been there 5 years, Matt Flynn. So we'll
said that all along. You just need minutes. And the quarterback, more than I think any position, you need to be back there, gain speed as much as possible to get better.
That's it.
And you know, some guys can come in and just quicker than others, but it's all about being back there, taking snaps, seeing defensive formations, and you know, being able to use your skills based upon that.
Yes. And
quick follow up, Doug.
Yes. Yes.
About the time period to file a lawsuit for back rent, and
yes.
You have a 3-year period of time from the date that
of the last payment, right? Much like credit cards, much like credit cards, it seems like, because if a credit card company, you know, they have 3 years from your last payment to sue, or basically the you know, that goes away or it expires. So the same time. You know, they were talking about this, and this is with COVID. A lot of more, you know, especially commercial landlords are in quite a quandary because, you know, businesses are not, you know, or you know, especially in the hospitality business, you know, these restaurants keep paying rent, and you know, a lot of these you know, commercial tenants are going to the landlord saying, I hadn't been in business in 8 years, or 8 months, and I hadn't been at full capacity. I'm paying full rent. You know, we got to make a deal here because, you know, it's not viable for me to continue under these circumstances. And a lot of landlords believe, hey, no, that's what the lease says. I'm not one of those because, you know, I'm like, if you're representing a landlord, I said, look, unless you got somebody to come in right away to come in and replace them, you might not get another tenant for a year under these circumstances, or 6 months, or a very long time. But this is, you know, basically, you know, sort of all things are off the table now as far as how do you deal with the situation, especially in a situation where you have government, especially New Orleans, is very hostile to wanting to start up business again. I mean, I think that it seems like they almost take great pleasure in shutting down small businesses. But so, the landlords have a, tough decision to make. And I think a lot of the, and there's ways of doing this where if you give an abeyance or you get partial payment for the rent during this downtime or down this, period where, government says you can't, apparently, you can't get COVID in Walmart, but you get it in a jewelry store or somewhere there, small family owned jewelry store. But, there's ways of working that out to eventually make the landlord whole, such as, maybe after this period's over, just tacking on a couple of $100 of, rent each month when you come back to full, until it's, until the arrears is paid. But there's ways of modifying that.
Right. And we've done different deals in the past too, where you look at what you go talk to the tenant and you get an idea of what percentage of their gross revenues was the rent that they had to pay. So if rent is 10% of their gross revenue or 4% of their gross, whatever the number is, you take that number and say, look, during this month, I'll take that percentage for rent at this period of time. So you're still paying the same amount of rent in terms of a percentage as you were paying before. And then we'll make up the difference on that end. So now, when you start going back in the black in a positive direction, and then you go ahead and add some more percentage points to the rent, you can pump back up. And that way it's a function of your income and not a flat amount. So there's ways to handle it, do it, especially when you're, let's say in the first quarter, some of these places are paying $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month rent. And, they barely have enough money to pay their employees. Like you said, it's the kind of thing where you want to work with them as best as you can. Because, we talked about the eviction moratorium. Well, that doesn't apply to businesses. It only applies to individuals. And they have to meet certain criteria, which most tenants would. They can't make more than $100,000 a year. They have to show that they've lost their revenue, lost their work because of the pandemic, they're no longer employed, or so there's a 5-step process that you have to show as an individual to be what's considered a covered person under this moratorium. But anyway.
Yeah, well, and I think the point being is you can't be rigid in this process. I mean, you're going to have to you can't say throw down a lease and say this is my lease, you live by it, or it's it. Because I've had some commercial landlords saying, okay, well, if you evict this business, what's your alternative right now? I mean, you go if you ride down Magazine Street, you'll see commercial retail areas that are closed that would have been unthinkable last year of not being occupied. So, that's another consideration as a businessman, is saying, hey, if I do take this extreme action, what's my alternative? And is there any, there's not, small businesses are not opening up right now. And it may be a long time before that happens.
Just like any other crisis, sometimes it's a good opportunity to get rid of a tenant that you don't want to get rid of.
Right, yeah.
That paid on the rent before all this happened, and they've been paying.
They've been bad, yeah. So.
Yeah, you're stuck in a contract with them. But now the opportunity, okay, I'll let you hang on as long as you'll still owe me the rent, and then I'm going to go ahead and terminate it, and then we'll see about collecting the back rent.
Well, in these times, it's very use very fact specific. You also have to be creative and open-minded to do a lot of problem solving. And, again, especially since you're getting absolutely no help from, government officials who are giving any type of guidance or trying assistance to, help these businesses stay afloat. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time.
Saints game day begins and ends on WWL. When you pop a cold beer, light the grill, and party on the patio, turn up WWL radio for the Bud Light countdown to kickoff. It's the juju to start Saints game day with Javier Bear and the boys, Deuce, Mike Detillier, and Christian Garrick. Then after the Saints whoop up on the Eagles, who first in line on the point after, you pop another cold one. Well, the Cajun Cannon pops off on Facebook and Saints Radio, WWL.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax.
Okay, gentlemen, we have two holding. Eddie Metairie is having a problem with life insurance company. John in River Ridge has an inheritance question.
Easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-262-7044. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-262-7044 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-262-7044 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-262-7044.
Hear how the best minds in business really work with the Boardroom Out of Office podcast, hosted by Rich Klein and Kevin Durant's 35 Ventures business partner. Industry leaders talk about who they are, how they got here, and things they learned along the way you might not expect. Listen on Radio.com and Apple Podcasts.
Plan the retirement you've always dreamed of. Listen to Your Money Matters Saturday mornings at 7 here on WWL, News, Talk, and Sports Powerhouse of the Gulf South.
The road home for the holidays. It may be different this year, but for us at BMW, it still means one thing: making each mile along the way unforgettable. So this holiday season, hurry up to the road home sales event and conquer any terrain on your trip back with the remarkably versatile BMW X3. Take an adventure you'll never forget in the spacious BMW X5, or savor every moment of the highway home in the iconic 3 Series. This year, don't just take the road home, truly experience it in the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in to the BMW Road Home Sales Event. Receive an up to $3,500 credit on select models through December 31st. Take delivery by December 31st. Up to $3,500 credit applied against MSRP for select new 2021 BMWs financed through BMW Financial Services. Visit BMWUSA.com/roadhome for offer details.
Enjoy a credit up to $3,500 on select BMW models now through December 31st at BMW's Road Home Sales Event. Visit BMW.com for details.
Here's an unexpected holiday surprise. A flash sale on all earrings at Diamonds Direct. This weekend, 25% off. This is something we never do, but we made a last-minute decision. All earrings marked down an incredible 25%. Diamond studs, diamond hoops, colored gemstones.
Last spot of this section is relief windows and a very short spot.
All right, good.
Diamond stud earrings for Christmas. Make it happen this weekend and save an unprecedented 25%. Special financing available too. Friday through Sunday only, and only at Diamonds Direct.
On Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
Protect your home from virus, bacteria, mold, and dust with a state-of-the-art OxyQuantum LED air purifier and relieve eye, nose, and throat irritation, headaches, and other health issues. Now more than ever, it's important to breathe clean air. Surgeez, trusted by New Orleans since 1964 with quality trained products, 10-year parts and labor warranty, and 0% finance for 72 months. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. Find us at surgeezac.com.
Do you have Medicare and make less than $1,615 per month? Or do you have Medicare and Medicaid? You may be eligible for extra benefits you're not getting now, and you may be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan from People's Health. Don't wait. If you enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan from People's Health today, your benefits may begin the first day of next month. Call 1-855-410-7761. That's 1-855-410-7761. People's Health, your Medicare health team. Rent it all here. Stylish, quality, custom doors. LeakWindows.com. It's WWL and all things legal with Albert Nico and Doug Sunseri. Join us on the WhoDatLending.com talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers. Before we get to Eddie in a second, I want to congratulate my alma mater, De La Salle, going to the state championship in Natchitoches. It's not going to be in the Superdome because the mayor ran the state championship out of the Superdome. So it's going to Natchitoches. They're playing at St. Thomas More, who's got, I think, Jamie Howard's former quarterback, Jamie Howard's son, quarterback, and I think Brent Besh's son, who's a wide receiver. So good luck to Coach Ryan Manali, De La Salle. Bring home that first state championship for De La Salle in football. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Eddie. He's got a question regarding, we got Eddie. Hey, Eddie, you know all things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. What you got for us, Eddie?
Okay, I'm having problems with a life insurance company. I didn't want to mention the name of the company, but anyway, policies were taken out back in the 50s,
Oh.
60s, when they only gave you a payment book. Okay?
All right.
I got in touch with the insurance company, and there's 5 policies that would have my name on them. They're claiming they have no information on 2 of them.
Uh-huh.
Yet I have the payment book.
Whose
By the person.
whose life is the policy on? Who's it? So on your life, who's the beneficiary?
Me.
You the beneficiary? Okay, your state.
Because I know because my parents were the beneficiary and they died.
Okay, how much is the policy? What is the cost of the policy? I mean the benefit amount. I'm sorry.
Well, I don't know the exact benefit amount. It could be anywhere from $1,000 up.
All right.
Because back in the 50s, they $1.50 bought you a life insurance policy. $1.50 a month or a week or whatever.
Oh wow. I mean, I know what you would have to do, but it may be cost prohibitive to do it. I've had I've had something similar occur. And what we had to do is we actually had to file a lawsuit. And then in a lawsuit, it was basically a declaratory judgment asking the court to recognize the policy in the terms and conditions because the insurance company had lost or provided incorrect information that we knew that was differing from the when the policy was secured. So this is the legal part. Now this is.
I have the payment books with the numbers and the agent's name that sold the policy. Okay. But there's no other information. There's no, you don't have a copy of the policy or the death benefit amount or anything like that. No, I don't.
Yeah.
It's a company that's, popular company doing business, like we recognize today. Yeah.
Well, what you're going to have to.
The only thing I'm thinking is that maybe with a letter from an attorney and a copy of the books that I've already sent them.
No. I possibly, but I wouldn't be optimistic they would. We've been through this. I've been through this before for a client, and it's very sort of a similar situation. And what we did was, once we had to sue the insurance company, and then we had to elicit agreement whereby they agreed to the terms and conditions. Now, in this case, I got our attorney's fees back because they had incorrectly stated that the policy was valued at one number and it was a lot more. And they had given me a misrepresentation regarding that. And so they acknowledged that they were incorrect and they agreed to pay back the cost. But what we had to do is have what's called the declaratory judgment, have the court recognize that this is the policy, these are the terms, this is the death benefit, and this is the beneficiary, based on the limited information they have. Now, that's why we asked how much is the policy, because if it's $1,000, it may be cost prohibitive to do that. If it was $1 million policy, absolutely would. So now your other.
I've already notified them if I have to get an attorney, they will be responsible.
Well, yeah, but the law may or may not require that. So, I mean, that's an assertion. So, you know, again, I mean, your options are, I mean, I personally don't think the court, the insurance company is going to recognize it until you pull them into court. But does the cost of that justify that? Now, the other issues you could do is you could let your family deal with it when you're in heaven, when you leave this earth and go to heaven. So those are your two options. It does, you know, these are one of those situations where the cost of remedying the problem may be more than the underlying benefit. And those are tough situations.
That's the thing I wanted to get an opinion on.
But I'd say you have to probably, you know, you could write letters. I think they'll probably toss the letters. They're not going to do anything. I think you're going to have to haul them into court, and then get them to adjudicate. Yeah, these are the terms, or making a settlement as to who it was and how it's going to be dealt with when you're gone. I don't have a lot of good news for you there, Eddie. All right, my man. Thanks for the call. Let's go to John. He's got a question regarding inheritance. Hey, John, you know all things legal, Doug Sunseri and Albernico. Good. What do you have for us, John? Something like that. Something like that. Yeah, go ahead.
My father passed away 5 years ago. He left me and my mother power of attorney. And so when he passed away, I power of attorney for my mother.
Okay.
So there was a life insurance policy for X amount of dollars, and so I put it in the bank and the name. I fronted everything right, and her name and my name.
Who's the beneficiary of the life insurance policy?
My mother and I.
Okay, so y'all 50-50. Okay.
Okay, and that's the question. So my mother was declared, she has dementia, like recorded dementia. She couldn't make decisions on her own.
Mm-hmm.
She also had serious depression problems.
Okay.
So it went to me. I spoke to an attorney right after my father passed away, and they said, well, as long as you have power of attorney, then, and she's documented with dementia and all that, okay, you're fine. Her brother came in, brought her to the bank, brought her to actually an attorney, took me off of power of attorney for no reason. I was the one who was taking care of her, and she signed papers that she didn't know that she was signing.
Okay.
He didn't take care of her one single bit.
Okay. Where's your mom?
Come in once a year.
Where's your mom now?
She's now, after all this happened, when they took me off of power of attorney.
Yeah. Where's she today?
Power of attorney, she's in Houston.
Okay, she's in Houston. Okay, so what are you looking? What do you want to accomplish?
I just want to see where I legally stand.
What?
I talked to the lady. I've been dealing with this really bad for over 30-something years, and the lady told me at the bank, from the assistant manager, she goes, yeah, because your uncle came in and brought her in there, and they asked her, you know what you're signing? And she said, okay. And next thing you know.
Okay. Okay. How long she's been in Houston? Okay. Well, you got a problem there, but what your remedy would have been at that time is you could have filed an interdiction and have the court determine who's going to be the guardian of your mother, provided she's unable to make her own decisions. First thing the court would do is to determine Does she have the capability or cognitive capability to make her own decisions, understand the consequences of her decisions? I understand. I get it. I'm just giving you information. Number two, yeah, no, you don't have to. I'm just, number two, they would decide who's in charge of her if they decide that. Now, the problem that you have is it really needed to be addressed 2 years ago because now she's settled in Houston. It's she's there and she's residing in Houston. So, I mean, theoretically you can, but with the passage of time, your ability to try to get control of her estate or be the decision maker, has, from a practical standpoint, has passed by. But you can. Right.
Where have you been? Why haven't you filed this action sooner? And you're going to have to probably go to Houston if she's domiciled in that county and
file guardianship. Yeah.
Yeah, so file a proceeding there, but she's been there for 2 years now. Okay, well, that was my question, but because was, I had one attorney tell me that because was documented with severe depression and
that's not, I mean, that's not entirely correct. Well, okay, let me tell you this. There's different stages of dementia, okay? There's different stages of dementia. And you can, if at the time you execute a document, you had the cognitive ability to understand the consequences of your decision, it's okay. Now, even if you have dementia, at times throughout the progression of the dementia, you can have pockets of recall, or depending on the progression of the dementia. Now, a lot of elderly people have dementia or are fully functioning. Okay, it's just it depends what degree. And the things that the courts struggle with is at what point does the dementia progress where they don't understand what they're doing. So typically, when we have a client who's experiencing dementia but wants to make legal decisions, we have them go see a doctor right before they come sign the document. The doctor will determine, yeah, he's understanding what he's doing. He's okay, even though he is diagnosed with some form of dementia. So it's not a black and white question. It's based on the degree. She can if she has the cognitive capacity to do it. She's like, well, you're saying that, okay, but that has to be proved. Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I am telling you what the court requires. She had dementia, but you have to bring it and prove it. Okay, and you're going to have a doctor to say at the time she signed this revocation, she didn't understand what she was doing. Your opinion is not going to carry the day. It'll help. Okay, but you're going to go to a medical, a geriatric neurologist, or whoever's treating them. That's going to carry the day. And if you're going to, challenge a document signed by someone who has dementia, you can't go in there and say she didn't understand what she was doing. You have to go in there and you'll have to get medical evidence to show that. And then if you have other witnesses, you can show on top of that. So thanks for the call. It's a difficult situation. We got to go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Change. 1 minute is sunny, 1 minute is snowing, next minute is raining.
Comes a change in the game.
Okay, Florida's clear, no more calls.
We're clear. Okay.
As we play for the postseason. Saints football. Game day and every day on WWL.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No hablo español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo. Bon dia. Good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably, yeah.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala,
Your last spot on the set is a lifelong commercial.
Five other learning apps and motherhood stuff. That was a complete game changer for me.
hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Esto conforme. El mío tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et you will too.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Hear how the best minds in business really work with the Boardroom Out of Office podcast, hosted by Rich Klein and Kevin Durant's 35 Ventures business partner. Industry leaders talk about who they are, how they got here, and things they learned along the way you might not expect. Listen on Radio.com and Apple Podcasts.
With Merrill Guided Investing, you have the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and a minimum. Get started at merrilledge.com/investing goals. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both registered broker-deal and investment advisor, member SIPC.
You know, folks, they say in life, timing is everything. Thank my lucky stars that California Closets was in my life before the pandemic. All the improvements our personal design consultant brought to the forefront created marital bliss strong enough to endure the extended periods of time spent at home due to the pandemic. Why, you ask? There is a place for all of our stuff, and my 20% of the closet space is all I need. So there it is. My wife still has 80% of the closet space that holds even more clothes. Emphasis on more. Just kidding, honey. But you know, the facts are what the facts are. And none of this could happen fast enough for us. And when it did, it was everything I expected and more. Because every design is custom manufactured and installed to the exact specifications. So get started today. Visit CaliforniaClosets.com and schedule your in-home or virtual design consultation today.
At Mike Brennan Injury Attorney, we know that car wrecks don't take the weekends off, and neither do we. If you've been hurt or wrecked over the weekend, don't wait until Monday to get the help you need right now. We have people standing by, ready to take your call, ready to give you free advice, and ready to help you get the medical attention you need. You don't have to wait until Monday to call an attorney. In a wreck, need a check? Call me, Mike Bradner. We're the 24/7 injury attorneys, and we're available to get you the help you need right now.
Diamonds Direct just decided to squeeze in one more incredible event before Christmas. A flash sale on all earrings this weekend. Yes! Save an unprecedented 25% off all earrings at Diamonds Direct. Get Diamonds Direct's unbeatable price plus an extra 25% savings. All diamond studs are included, so this is huge. Special financing too, guys. You can never go wrong with a nice pair of diamond stud earrings. You've never seen prices this low. It's Friday through Sunday only. A truly epic earring event at Diamonds Direct.
On Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
Hi, this is Jack from the Silver Sliver, reminding you that our award-winning Jubilee Buffet is serving Dungeness crab for dinner every night of the week and all day on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. Now, you never have to guess what night of the week we're serving those awesome Dungeness crab. We have them every night of the week, plus some of the biggest shrimp you've ever seen. You know we know how to cook them. We're on the beach here in Hancock County. Silverstar Casino, where you get Dungeness crab every night of the week and all day on Saturday and Sunday. We are proud to be your host on the coast.
Have a good time at the Silver Sliver. And the children would nestle all snug in their beds while visions of cyber threats danced in their heads.
Add cyber threats to the holidays and it ruins the whole thing. Like if you gift shopping online.
I entered my credit card so naively, never considering that cyber criminals were watching my every click.
We do so much online this season that can end up exposing our personal information. But if you have Norton 360 with LifeLock, the holidays look a lot merrier.
On LifeLock.
Norton 360 with LifeLock helps protect the info on your devices, your online privacy, and your identity. No one can prevent all cybercrime or identity theft, but Norton 360 with LifeLock helps you tell cyber criminals to
dash away, dash away, dash away.
Here we go. Now you can save 25% or more off your first year. Go to norton.com/news. That's 25% off at norton.com/news.
Back to WWL, all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Connect on the whodhatlending.com talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Albert, in the last call, we were talking a little bit about and I had to shoo up the caller to, we got time constraints, so to get to the issue. But basically, we do get a lot of calls saying, mom or dad signed a power of attorney or a will 2, 3 years ago, a year ago, and she had dementia, and now I want to do something about that. And there's one thing about in a court case believing something happened, and another thing proving it. Those are two different things. And no matter what you suspect, you still have to prove it in order to make it actionable. And a lot of times dementia is very complicated, and people are living longer. Medical technology is allowing people to live longer, but they hadn't figured out how to preserve the brain in a lot of ways, as far as dementia, Alzheimer's, and just diminished cognitive capacity. And one of the things that it's hard to determine is at what point is someone not understanding what they're doing. Sort of goes along with decisions. When do you take the car keys away, and when do those type of things. And so it's not clear. But one thing that is clear, you have to prove it medically. You just can't go in there and say he or she didn't know what she was doing.
And again, the judges are reluctant to take those keys away and give control of somewhat theirs to someone else unless you can really meet that burden of proof. And with our last caller, I appreciate his frustration, but the fact is, 2 years after the fact, I think it should be easily established that his mom has now established residency in Texas. And so now it's going to be up to him to gather those medical records from the time period within which the new power of attorney was executed, granting power of attorney to the uncle as the agent, and find her medical records and determine whether or not there was there is a diagnosis of dementia prior to that, not to that condition. But then again, you have all these prior conditions you have to deal with. And so you have to get into a courtroom setting in order to be able to obtain those records in the first place. And then once they're obtained, you'll have to go take the doctor's deposition and say, what do you think, doc? Was she capable of fully understanding what she was doing and taking away the power of attorney from me and giving it to the uncle?
Well, and I think one of the misconceptions is just because you're diagnosed with dementia doesn't mean de facto that you can't execute a legal document. You can.
You have lucid intervals. You hear it all the time. Some days Dad's with it. We're having a great conversation. The next day, he doesn't remember. He asks me the same thing 5 times in a row. So it's a come and go type of thing. And it's going to be, when you execute a power of attorney in Louisiana, you have to execute it before a notary and 2 witnesses. And so, depending on the diligence of the notary, usually it's an attorney. I know that we take and make sure that the person that is seeking to be the agent for this person is out of the room. I'm going to talk to your mom or your dad or whatever. And so I feel comfortable executing the document. And it may be beyond the steps of the notary, but for the notary, basically that it confirms that you're the person that's actually executing that document. But in case I'm called to testify one day, I know that I follow this procedure, and the procedure is to question the person independently of anyone else who may want to exert some undue influence on them, and make sure that they are they cognitively understand what they're signing and the ramifications of what they're signing, and the fact that they're giving up and relinquishing the control of their affairs.
Now, the other thing that, I'm sorry.
When that's the case, I know that I've prepared myself that this act of power of attorney is challenged
and another thing is, I mean, if we feel like it's going to be an issue with the family and they do have a diagnosis of some type of, diminished cognitive capacity, what we'll do is we'll film the actual signing of the will or the power of attorney. We also asked the family to get a doctor's note right before they came to our office saying that he's in a good, frame of mind to make his own decisions, to sort of take it off. And, like even with Mr. Benson, if you have a bishop available, let him witness the document. So, or somebody who's prominent or who knew them and doesn't have an axe to grind to, like the Archbishop. Yeah, you got the Archbishop as a witness. You got him up there with his hat and his vestments and his, all his, all that. You say, hey, Archbishop, not lying. So I knew where he was. All right. Well, but if you don't have an Archbishop, maybe you can use a video, and a doctor's note may do. All right, let's go to break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
A warning. Millions of people are buying stuff.
We have one caller holding Dan has a question about title.
How much time are we going to have?
Say again?
How much time are we going to have?
With COVID on the scene, you might need more in cash than before. Maybe you need to reduce your market risk as well. Are you sure you'll
have about 4 minutes?
Okay.
Call us at Edelman Financial Engines and let's review your investments and your
make that 3.5.
Okay.
And see if you're in good shape as this crisis continues.
Time for a quick judgment or loan.
Call us at 888 Plan Red. Talk with one of my colleagues here at Edelman Financial Engines. We'll review your portfolio and make sure you're ready for what comes next. And we'll help you get through this crisis just like we've helped clients get through every crisis for the past 35 years. Call us at 888 Plan Red. That's 888 Plan Red. Online at ricedelman.com.
Find inspiration in timeless stories of sacrifice and resilience. Find inspiration in little victories and Herculean tasks. In facing trying times together and overcoming the odds as one. The National World War II Museum in New Orleans is now open, so you can find inspiration in all of these places, and especially within yourself. Visit nationalww2museum.org for time, tickets, and safety information.
What can help you take advantage of today's low mortgage rates and save money? Rocket can. You can save hundreds of dollars every month by refinancing with Rocket Mortgage at today's near historic low rates. If your current rate is over 4%, you could lower your payment by over $150 a month, saving thousands in interest every year. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Last bottom it says progressive insurance.
Okay. I like when you do that because I can be ready.
Friday through Sunday. Yes. It's a flash sale on all earrings. Diamond studs, colored gemstone earrings, gold earrings. Best prices ever. An extra 25% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price. It's the perfect Radio-870AM gift for the wedding of your life. All diamond studs are included. Special financing available too. A truly epic earring event. It's Friday through Sunday only at Diamonds Direct.
On Suburban Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
Let go of protection. Improve the security of your business by keeping your customers and employees safe. Go of Protection is the local choice for security personnel and equipment. Give them a call at 504-577-2323 or on the web at goofprotection.com.
Does learning a language feel like this? No hablo español. Hablo. Es hablo? Es hablo. Bom dia. Good day. Good morning. I think.
I can say je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned with Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps, and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera. Estoy con fome. No tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du Lyon too.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a
policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
It's WWL, all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nico. Connect with us on the Who Dat Lending Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nico, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. If you want to call us, can't get to you today, you call us at South Shore, 504-837-1304, 504-837-1304. On North Shore, 95-624-9697. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Dan. Hey, Dan, you know all things legal.
Hey, Pat, I ain't talked to you in a long time.
How you feeling, brother?
Terrible. I think I got your message just waiting.
Oh, man, you don't sound any different than you did before. There you go. There you go.
Before you cut me off, because we're running out of time, I've talked to you before about the property that's why I didn't have a hard time getting the title to it. But I did get the title to it. It cost me several $1,000s. I want to sell the property. It's only worth $14,000. And a title company wants to charge the guy that's buying it from me $500 to check the title. And I don't think it's into their business to have to check the title because it's a cash sale. No finance company involved. What do you think? Well, Dan, I think it's a question of what the buyer wants to do. That's all for the buyer's protection. So if you want to use the bucks for title opinion or for an abstract of the property, and that's on him. He can do it. If he doesn't want to do it, then tell him to let its title company and title attorney know that, and they will put a disclaimer in the document saying that the buyer has requested that we not perform these services, and you're going to hold us harmless because we didn't. And okay with that. Because I know it's clear, man. Thousands of dollars clear in the thing. And I had clear title. You have to title thousands. Because you spent thousands clearing it. Doesn't necessarily mean it's clear.
Yeah, that they want to verify it themselves.
You mean they tell me I spent all this money and still might not be clear?
No, it's probably clear. I'm sure it's clear. But somebody else wants to verify it in their own. The
guy that handled that for me, his name is Peter Title. He wrote the book Titles that you sent to us.
That's it.
Well, I know I think you probably have clear title.
You got clear title. Go to the man who wrote the book. All right. Well, thanks, Dan. You stay healthy and good to hear from you. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week. Be good, be blessed, and go Saints. And we'll see you in a week.
The views and advice expressed were not